We gotta learn to sit in God's presence. Hey, what's up? It's Patrick. It's Rose via Fire, and I pray this message reaches who it needs to reach. So let's talk about we gotta learn to sit in God's presence. I'm gonna keep it real with you, bro. Like, schools didn't really teach us. They didn't really teach us any of this stuff, bro. So it's like God has to use the school of life. You know what I'm saying? God has to use life to teach us things like this, bro. We gotta learn to sit in God's presence. Cause you gotta understand, right? Instead of schools, instead of all these high schools and all these schools teaching us topics like this on how to sit in God's presence, schools was teaching us X plus Y equals negations of aspirations of calculations. Stupid, bro. Stupid. That's what they was teaching us, bro. They ain't teach us nothing we could use in real life, for real. When the last time we gonna use aspirations of negation squared times infinity 2, bro? Come on, bro. Minus y2? Minus y2? Why we gotta learn this? Why? Just why, bro? But when you really think about it, bro, like, we gotta learn to sit in God's presence, because you gotta understand, right? It's like bro, people would sit for hours and listen to relationship music about, R&B music. People would sit for hours and listen to relationship podcasts, gossip channels and podcasts. People would sit for hours and watch movies on Netflix. We would sit for hours and scroll on social media, scrolling for hours, right? But when it comes to sitting in God's presence, it's hard to do. It's hard to do. And sometimes, bro, we just gotta learn to sit our butts down in God's presence. We gotta learn to sit our butts down and just sit down and read the word. Like, really sit down, bro, in God's presence. Sit down and read the word. Sit down and listen to worship music and worship God along to the worship music. Sit down and talk to God, bro. Just sit down in God's presence. Literally, we gotta learn how to sit our butts down in God's presence. But instead, what we doing? We sitting down in entertainment. We sitting down scrolling for hours. We sitting down watching movies for hours. We sitting down listening to all this worldly music for hours. You see what I'm saying? Because learning to sit in God's presence is hard to do. It is hard to do because we are in a fleshly body. Know what I'm saying? And it is hard to it is just hard to learn how to sit in God's presence. And you gotta understand also, when we rush and when we hurry to leave God's presence, where are we headed to? When we rush and when we hurry to leave God's presence, where are we headed to? It's like we would sit in God's presence for a little while. We get quickly agitated and quickly tired. Then we go sit in another type of presence, a worldly presence, for hours. But when it comes to sitting in God's presence, we sit there for a few minutes, bro. We tired, we gone. Now we rushing to leave God's presence, to go watch movies for hours, to go scroll for hours. And it's like the art of learning how to sit in God's presence is what's missing in this time, bro. Know what I'm saying? When the last time you seen people today really sitting in God's presence? That's a rare thing, bro. Learning how to sit in God's presence is a rare trait. It's rare. Because of what everybody doing. Everybody don't have that tenacity. They don't have the strength to sit in God's presence for a while, bro. For a good minute, bro. For a good amount of time. They don't have no strength for that. And when I say sit in God's presence, I'm not even just talking about just sitting down on your chair or just sitting down. You know what I'm saying? You could literally be walking around, laying down or something, but you still sitting in God's presence in your heart mentally. You cut off all distractions. You put your phones away. You literally mentally in your heart, you sitting down in God's presence. It don't mean that you literally sitting down on a chair. Which, if that's what you want to do, you know what I'm saying, you could do that too, because there ain't nothing wrong with that. But, you know what I'm saying, that's something that's missing. When the last time you seen somebody really sitting in God's presence? That's rare. What everybody doing? Everybody's following their favorite streamer, their favorite influencer, worldly entertainment. Sitting there watching streams for hours. Sitting watching streams for hours, but they cannot sit in God's presence. You see how we are cooked? Do you see how we are cooked? You know what I'm saying? We could sit for hours to watch all these other people, but we can't sit. We can't sit, bro, for a long period of time in God's presence. We can't sit, bro. We cannot sit, bro, and really just sit our butts down in God's presence. That's what we gotta do, bro. Learn to sit in God's presence, bro. Just learn, bro. You ain't gotta be perfect, but just try, bro. And it's hard to do. Know what I'm saying? It's hard to do. It's hard to learn how to just sit in God's presence. That stuff is not easy. I'm gonna keep it real with you, bro. It is not easy, but we gotta try, though. We have to try. We gotta pray for God to give us the strength. Because sometimes, bro, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Sometimes I could be reading, bro, and then I feel bored, man. I'm like, bro, some of this stuff is kind of boring. Let's keep it real now. I'm like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing here, bro? But then I realized you could be the one making it boring. Know what I'm saying? Reading your word doesn't have to be boring. Like listening to worship music and worshiping God doesn't have to be boring. Talking to God doesn't have to be boring. You gotta unleash your imagination and your creation. Make it fun. Know what I'm saying? There's no scripture in the Bible that say the time you spend with God gotta be boring. Make it fun. Know what I'm saying? Make it like a Bible movie night. The whole night you just watching Bible movies, bro. Bible movie night. Game nights with God, bro. Game nights with Jesus, bro. Make it fun, bro. There's no scripture that say you gotta make this stuff boring now. You gotta learn how to sit in God's presence, but use your imagination. Let that childlike imagination just pour out, man. Like, you ain't gotta make this stuff boring. Because sometimes we could literally feel like it's boring because we think that it's supposed to be this boring thing, but you can make it fun, though. Know what I'm saying? You can make it fun, though. You could have a game night with God, bro. Bible movie nights with God, bro. Like, switch it up. Make it fun. Like, know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, bro. Imagination. Be creative. And to learn how to entertain yourself. Be creative, bro. Like, learn how to entertain yourself while you sit in God's presence. See what I'm saying? It all starts to make sense, but that's pretty much everything I wanted to say, bro. Bro, we gotta learn to sit in God's presence, especially in these times, bro, where the world is just filled with the devil's chaos. The devil is like the Joker, bro, and the world is just filled with the devil's chaos. Y'all see what's going on in the world? We gotta learn how to sit in God's presence like never before. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about, man. Peace.